Settling is not an option for me. Everything I desire is already mine. What if you can have it all? Because every day is for the girls.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of For the Girls. I'm your host, Victoria Percivali. And today we are talking to the girls who need clarity on men. If you are a single lady out in the dating game, if you are seeing somebody, if you're in a situationship, if you're talking to somebody, matching with somebody on a dating app, just whatever, texting, the talking stage, quote unquote, the worst stage phase ever, which I will talk about in this episode. Whatever the case is, if you're somebody who may feel a little bit confused and you need a little bit of clarity on men and in the dating world, this episode is for you. And I also want to put it out there, very importantly, that my Queens of Confidence digital program is on a major sale for Black Friday. I've only ever done this last Black Friday, so if you missed it then it's literally been a whole entire year since. Um, it is 60% off, 60% off of the price, which means that it is 90% off of the value. Guys, it's almost 100% off of the value of the program. You have to check it out. 90% off of the value price and 60% off of the listed price that I have it as. So if you want to get your hands on that 8-week program, you got to get on it now. I do have the link in the show notes. You could go to victoriaalario.com, or you could also go to victoriapercivali.com because it will take you there. Unfortunately, the website is already set up as victoriaalario.com, but I am in my rebrand era. So I did make a new domain, Victoria Percivali, but I cannot link it to that website. I can link it to that website. I just cannot redo the whole website. So if you go on either one, it'll all take you to the same place. And also, while you're there, the workbook is on there. The workbook is only $29. I'm not putting that on any sort of Black Friday sale. It's already dirt cheap. It is $29 for the workbook. So if I were you, knowing that the digital program is 60% off, I would get my hands on both. I would get my hands on the Queens of Confidence digital program and the workbook for the girls who desire more. And this is good because, especially if you can relate to this topic, scarcity mindset, like that's a big thing with this, like abundance and dating and all that. That's a huge topic in these two things, in the download, the workbook, and in the digital program. Scarcity mindset, abundant mindset, like that's a very important discussion, and it's a very important thing to journal about. I mean, the name of the workbook is quite literally For the Girls Who Desire More. So more being the key word, abundance, more. If you want more out of life, out of your dating experiences and whatnot, I would get my hands on that ASAP, because that's the thing with this topic. Let's get right into it. Um, a lot of girls start to date desperately because of a scarcity mindset. And what happens is then you find yourself settling for guys that you don't actually like, and now you're like obsessing over a guy that you don't actually really like. He's not actually your dream guy. And you find yourself lowering your standards. So now you're accepting things that you don't want. You're dealing with shit that you should not be dealing with. You're going through heartache and heartbreak, and you're getting screwed over, and you're being treated like a freaking doormat practically. You're being walked all over because maybe there's a guy that you're like interested in, or whatever, and you think, oh my god, he could be the one. I'm not talking to anybody else. I have nothing else going on, so I hope that it's him. I hope that he's the one. So now you start rewriting your whole story and reinventing the wheel, and you're like, okay, let me not mess this up. Let me make this work, because I want to meet my guy. I want to meet my man, and I hope that this guy can be that man. So now you check things off your list that you're like, maybe I don't need that. Maybe I don't need that. You convince yourself that things are better than they actually are. And ultimately, you find yourself doing the desperate thing, being the one to pursue him, which I never want to see. I never want to hear you girls who are, in my mind, the prize. I never want to see the prize chasing a man. Like I just don't like that. I do not like that. And I think from my experience and from my knowledge that men are natural born chasers. And so it's just what they do when they see something they really want. If a man sees a woman he really wants to be with, he's going to go for her until he gets her and has her and that she is his. Therefore, if you find yourself in a position of you having to chase that man, that all that does is tell me that he's not the one. Because if he wanted you all the way, he would be going for you all the way and not putting you in a position to have to go for him and chase him. And the worst part is when it's especially over a guy that you actually don't even really like. You know, when it's like, he pursued me first. He's not even my type. I would have never gone for him. He was in my DMs. He was texting me. He was begging me to take him out. Then I go for it. Then I actually enjoy my time with him. I enjoy getting to know him. And now I'm over here left empty handed because now he's switched up and I'm texting him, seeing how he's doing, and I'm getting one word answers. Knock it off, knock it off. That is manipulation. That's mind games. It's a guy playing hot and cold, and then in as a result making you feel like, oh, maybe I am missing out. Maybe I should be going for this. Maybe he would be good for me. And the truth is that it's simply just a mind game. It's like a reverse psychology thing. And unfortunately, you got psychologically twisted there, but you don't actually like this guy, and this guy is not actually your man, and he's not actually reaching your standards. Because the reality is, what have I always said? Like, your feelings toward a guy should be less about him and what he brings to the table, per se, and these surface level things like he's charming, he's cute, he's funny, he's nice, he has a good job, he has good money. Like, it should be less about that and more about how he actually makes you feel. That should be how you determine who your dream man is and like what you would expect out of your dream man. Um, him having those things, yeah, sure, but also really paying attention to how he makes you feel. And then when you're able to start observing and analyzing how a guy makes you feel, and you realize, he doesn't actually make me feel great because he is playing mind games. He is doing hot and cold, and I don't really know like what to expect. I don't know if and when I'm going to hear from him. He's inconsistent. That is not your dream man. Your dream man would never treat you like that. And so I have like a whole little list here of like things that I wanted to make sure I touch on. And one of my next bullet points is, getting over men that you never even officially dated. Why that barely dated breakup actually hurts. And it's because with all of those things that I was just talking about, you start to romanticize and you start to wear those like rose colored glasses and see the potential. So yeah, maybe he does check a lot of boxes on paper, surface level things. Um, Even if he's inconsistent, you'll romanticize the fact that like, but he did text me, so he must like me. It's like, well, you haven't heard from him in 3 days. He texted you on Monday. It's now Friday, and you're still wondering like what happened to him. So now you're romanticizing that obviously there's something there because he wouldn't have texted me on Monday if he wasn't interested. That's not necessarily true. Guys are bored and boring and look for attention and put themselves in a position to get that attention. So if he knows you're interested and he knows that he could get a response from you and he's bored and has nothing going on and wants someone to talk to and wants some entertainment, sure, he'll text you because why not? Um, and so it might actually mean nothing hearing from him. And quite frankly, you should be more focused on the full picture and the reality of the situation, which is you could look at it from two different lenses, right? You could look at it completely differently. On one end, you could say what I just said about romanticizing it. Oh, but he texted me on Monday. He wouldn't have texted me if he wasn't interested. So he must just have gotten really busy this week. It must mean something for him to have reached out to me. So obviously, I'll hear from him again. He's probably just busy on that end. Or you could be completely logical, completely real with yourself and realistic on the situation and say, that's weird. why would you even bother texting me on Monday if you had no intentions on maintaining that conversation and talking to me throughout the week? Why are you playing these games with me? I don't like somebody inconsistent. I don't like somebody with poor communication skills. I don't like I don't like to feel like you're using me when you just want someone to talk to, or like I'm just some convenient bus stop along the road. So I don't appreciate you texting me on Monday at all, because then you got me excited, you got my hopes up, and then I didn't hear from you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Here I am Friday now hoping to hear from you, and I still haven't heard from you. So I don't like that, and I don't appreciate that. That's how I would feel in that case, and that's how you should feel. And when you do feel that way, you stop getting so excited and getting your hopes up over nothing, over simply potential. And that is why those those like breakups, quote unquote, those like barely dated breakups, or like trying to get over those guys you barely dated, like that's why it's hard, is because like you don't actually know what went wrong. So there's so much potential there, and you're so focused on like trying to figure things out, and it really romanticizes the situation and leaves you remembering like the good things, not the bad things, and you're just confused. Whereas, in a real relationship, a long-term relationship, or like a serious committed relationship, when you break up, typically it's because something happened. It's not like, oh, my boyfriend of 3 years ghosted me. So when you go through those breakups, you have answers to your questions. There's at least some form of closure, even if it like you don't have some big grand closure. You at the very least have had that discussion of like, here's why this is not working. Now we're going to go our separate ways. So it's almost easier in a way to get over a serious relationship than a situationship, because you don't have any answers in a situationship. What are you going to do? Have a breakup conversation with a guy you're not even officially dating? No, that would be crazy. It's like, I need answers. And he's like, I don't know. I met somebody else. I don't know. I don't really remember. Like, yeah, we talked. You were cool, but like, I don't know. Like, there might be literally nothing to it other than just he's constantly moving on to the next one. So you find yourself confused when like your situationship doesn't go anywhere, simply because there's too much gray. It's nothing more than a gray area. And it's not as black and white as like, here's what happened, here's what went wrong, and here's why we're not working out. So you might find yourself asking questions and feeling confused. And then the other thing that leaves a lot of girls confused is the difference between chemistry and compatibility. And I feel like I can't possibly stress this enough, although I always find myself stressing it as much as I possibly can. There is a need to have both of these things, because I believe that one without the other is incomplete when it comes to romantic relationships. For example, if you are completely compatible with someone, we agree on everything, we're on the same page, we have the same upbringing and values and morals, the whole nine, we believe in the same stuff, yada yada. Okay, perfect. So happy about that. However, if you lack chemistry, attraction, a sexual spark, if you lack that, then essentially what you have is a really good friendship. Because you could love somebody, fully, and um be completely on the same page with that person, but I don't know if it's possible to be romantically in love with someone that you don't have chemistry with or any sort of sexual attraction to. I don't know, because then I'm just describing my best friends, essentially. And then on the other end, you could have so much chemistry with someone. You can be like magnets. It can be off the charts, like never been seen before, never been done before. I've never felt this way with anybody in my life. Like, this is crazy. Um, and it could potentially just stay right there and not go the distance, simply because of the fact that you're not compatible. And it's like, oh, but I want this to work so bad because I've never felt this spark with anyone else in my life. We're so aligned, we're so connected, like like we're obsessed with each other, basically. It's like, oh, the best person I've ever been with, physically, romantically, sexually, all that. But then at the same time, it's like we're not on the same page when it comes to like important things. We aren't looking for the same thing at the same time. We're just like not in the same place in life. And we have a tendency to disagree on things, or we just simply don't view relationships the same way, from the same lens, whatever the case is. And so for that reason, that relationship, gets cut short and ends early, because it's like it can't really go the distance and it can't really work long term in that case. All that stuff is nice, the spark is great, but sparks burn out. It's like a candle. It has a short shelf life, basically. And so I do think that you need to have both of those things. However, I think, going back to the romanticizing thing, girls tend to actually convince themselves that they are compatible with a guy because of silly little surface level things that they agree with, when like the real like leading force in the relationship is chemistry. It's like, now I'm convincing myself that we're on the same page. It's like, yeah, we agree on this and that, and like, yeah, sure, we both think drugs are bad, and we both like, it's like, sure, okay, like most people think that way, so now like you convince yourself like, oh, we're like the same person, we agree on so much, when the reality is you're blinded by um the chemistry. And I also think that there's a lot of red flags that we are blind to when a guy is really cute, when you do have that kind of chemistry. We are going to talk about red flags in a second. I posted on my story collecting some questionable red, green, what color are these flags essentially, and I'm going to share 10 of them on here. But the moral of the story is, you make it easy on yourself to bend your own rules a little bit when the chemistry is there, and when a guy is really cute and you're like, oh my god, he's hot. So now it's like, maybe you had this rule of like, I'm not sleeping with a guy until XYZ, but then you meet this one, sparks are flying, you feel like magnets, you're super attracted to him, so immediately you're bending your own rules, if not breaking your own rules. Even when there are red flags there, even when there's something telling you like, this is not the one, or this is not going to be a good situation for you, girl, like protect yourself, take care of yourself. We tend to put our blinders on in those cases, and we don't want to be hit with the truth, we don't want to be hit with the reality. So um we focus on those little, like the good things, even though the bad things most likely outweigh it. But because of that blurred line, because of the gray area, because of the confusion. And that goes into another one that I have, um, when it comes to a guy pretty much breadcrumbing you, doing the bare minimum, and it confusing you. I put gray area situationships. It's confusing to you because you're making you in your mind, like, because you're so excited, these little things actually feel like grand gestures, when the reality is that they are not. I was just talking to someone about this, and she was explaining all of these great things about a guy that she was into, and I was like, I hate to be the person to burst your bubble. Like, I actually don't want to be that person. I really don't, because I love when people are excited about things. But I do need to just stop you there for a second, because every single thing that you're listing about this guy, it kind of like related back to just like essentially kindness. I was like, have we lowered the bar so much that we are now like going feral over a guy just because he's a good person, just because he's kind? Essentially, he's treating you the way that humans should treat each other. He's literally being kind to you. He was like taking care of like plans, and being respectful and being nice, and like being interested in like her life and whatnot. And I was just like, and those are all good things. So I was like, I'm not even trying to rain on your parade in a sense of being like, oh, that's nothing. But the reality is like, how bad have you been treated? How bad has it gotten that now this guy is on a pedestal, who, by the way, ended up ghosting her anyway? So, like, the moral of the story is that, like, he wasn't that into her. He did ghost her, but that she was, like, putting him on this pedestal simply because he was nice to her. He was kind to her, and he was interested, in when he was having conversations with her, he made her feel heard. Like, eh, and to me, it's like, yeah, I don't want to sound mean, but that is the bare minimum. That is essentially just human connection and human interaction. And so when you get into these talking stage situationship type things, it's really important that you hold your ground, that you raise your standards, and you're able to put a kibosh to it and tell yourself and this person, like, I am not going to find myself stuck in something that I get my hopes up about, I get excited about, but in the end you have no true intentions. Because that's a big thing. There's a huge difference between attention and intention. And someone could give you all the attention in the world, but what are their intentions with you? They need to make it clear. If you feel confused at any point while seeing somebody, that should tell you what their intentions are. Because a man whose intentions are to be with you will make you feel wanted, will make you feel special. He will commit to you, he will be serious with you, he will make you his girlfriend. He will not leave you, stranded. He will not leave you in the dark. He's not going to leave you confused. Like I said before, if you find yourself in that position to be chasing a guy, that should tell you off the bat he's not your man, because your man would be chasing you. It's what they are naturally born to do. And quite frankly, it wouldn't have to be much of a chase, especially when you're on the same page. Because if you're on the same page, great, it works out. But at the very least, he would be pursuing you. He would be texting you first. He would be asking you on dates. You wouldn't be going dates without hearing from him and then having to text him, hey, stranger, what's going on? He wouldn't be telling you, oh, just been super busy at work. No, that would not be happening if this was your man, okay? I feel like I just sounded like, that, wait, Steve Harvey, I couldn't think of his name, when he's like, this is your man. Look at the screen. And she's like, yep, that's mine. And I'm gonna stick beside him. I die. But that's what it just reminded me of. And so with that being said, going back to the whole talking stage, whatever, like, you have to make it clear, like, I am not going to be that girl that you keep in a talking stage, or you keep in, this gray area situationship for nothing. I like, and yes, you need to know what their intentions are, but it's not so much about what they tell you, it's just what they show you. Is he regularly taking you out? Is he consistently speaking to you and texting with you and calling you? Is he, after a normal amount of dates, committing to you? Because you should not be on 3 months of dating and having no idea what's going on. You should be exclusive and official, better yet, official, because that's another thing. There's like another label where it's like, we're exclusive but not official. So you're exclusive but you don't call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. What the fuck is that? Again, confusing. So if you're confused, you need clarity, and you need clarity. Here's your clarity. That's not your man. Because think about it. He's exclusive with you, meaning he is forbidding you from seeing other guys and exploring your options. So now maybe you're off the apps. Maybe if a guy hits on you, you're telling them, I'm seeing somebody. But if that person were to ask you, well, okay, is that somebody your boyfriend? What would you say? You'd say, no, we're just seeing each other. Okay, so then why are you being loyal to them? It's not your boyfriend. You're not committed. Like, I don't understand. So that's something that I was never going to settle for or deal with, was like being exclusive without being official. It was like, we're official or we're officially done. It's as simple as that. And so I feel like, yes, you should be having those conversations, but also you shouldn't necessarily have to have those conversations, because it should just be what's happening. It should just be the flow of the progress of your relationship. You meet somebody, you start talking, you start going out. After a couple of dates, a man knows what his intentions are with you. Actually, from the first date, he knows what his intentions are with you. But after a couple of dates, he knows what he wants out of this. And that's when, he'll say, okay, I'm in this with you. And that's that. If you are locking in, then you are becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. That is that. And then the rest, picks up from there. So I believe that that exclusive stage is a scam. I also believe that the talking stage is like really a scam too, because let's clarify, if you're going on dates with someone, you're dating them. Okay? So now there's there's there could be a period of time where you just start texting. Say you met on a dating app, or say you even met out and now you're just texting. You haven't met like on a date yet. Okay, that's your talking stage. That should last for a couple of days. That should be at the bare minimum, for the most, that should be 2 weeks, because maybe you're busy. Like maybe things come up because you met at a bad timing and you have a lot going on. But there should be no talking stage that goes on longer than a week or two. Because what is this, a pen pal? Are you looking for a pen pal? I know you're not. So those first couple days of getting someone's number, first 2 weeks of getting someone's number, there's your very mini quick talking stage. From the second you go on a first date with somebody, you're now dating. You're going on dates. Let's stop being afraid to say that. If a guy makes you feel like you're not dating, if a guy makes you feel like, oh, we're just talking, like we're not serious, like run, run. Because anyone who boxes you in the talking stage is quite literally scamming you. That's going to be the same person who becomes exclusive with you but doesn't make it official. Why do they do that? Because they don't want you to hook up with other people. They do like you. They are interested in you, but they're not 100% sure. And it's as simple as that. Don't you want someone who's 100% sure of you? I know for damn sure if somebody ever made me feel like I like you enough to be exclusive with you, but I don't like you enough to make you my girlfriend and like us become really official and start investing and meeting each other's families and like getting to like, I would be like, thank you, but no, thank you. I've had a good time and I will go continue my life now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Again, it is confusing and your answer should be clear in that confusion. I feel like the more gray an area is, the more confusing an area is, the more clarity I would get. Because it's like my answer, my clarity is in your unknowingness. It's in your indecisiveness. It's in your unwillingness to commit to me. If you are unwilling to commit to me, then I know where I stand with you. And therefore, I do not need clarity and I don't even need closure. Your confusion is clear enough to me. That's exactly how I would feel. And I would not let myself get stuck in those stages of a situationship, a talking stage, or an exclusive stage for far too long. Like your expiration date has come and gone. So this is over. So like I said, I had some red flags or even green flags. I just posted a story asking people to submit like whatever they were going through. So let's see. I'm going to tell you whether or not I think something is a red flag or if I think it's a green flag or whatever color freaking flag I think it is. Number one, we've been on 4 dates. He's on a work trip and texts me once a day, one singular message. Okay. I'm going to say red flag because it's certainly not a green flag, but it also, there, obviously I need a little bit more context. You've gone out 4 times with this person, which to me is a lot. Like that's a lot of dates because when my husband and I first met, we only went on dates once a week. We weren't going on dates constantly. I know that some people meet and then they're like, "Oh, then we spent the next 5 days together. We went out every single day." Our schedules did not align like that. And we also didn't live close. So once a week we went on dates. So our first 4 dates were a series of 4 weeks, a month essentially. So like, I feel like if you're potentially a month into this, or you could even have spread those 4 dates out more, you could be a month and a half, 2 months. Like, I don't know. To me, 4 dates is a lot. We learned a lot about each other in 4 dates. Like, we were invested in 4 dates. So, and at that stage, we were talking every single day with like substance to the conversation. That is my experience. Now, it's nice that he's texting you every single day, but since I don't have the full context, my question is he texting you good morning every single day? Or is it that he texted you, you reply, and then he replies the next day? And now you're just like maintaining one conversation over a series of days. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's say he texted you on Monday. Hey, how are you? You reply a couple hours later, still on Monday, saying, I'm good. How are you? How's your work trip? Now he doesn't reply until Tuesday afternoon. It's good. What do you have going on? And then you reply, I'm just busy doing my thing. How's the weather out there? And then he replies on Wednesday, it's nice. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, are you just responding to me and you're just like, I'm dragging you through this conversation? So in that case, that is someone who's uninterested and it is just answering you to answer you. So I would say that's a disinterested person, and that is a red flag. If he's extremely, extremely busy on his trip and he's just like texting you, hey, good morning. Sorry that I've been super, occupied and I've been really distracted thinking about you. That's a green flag, because he could be crazy busy on a work trip and still making the time to make you feel special. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm wiped out by the end of the night. I really don't have it in me to talk, but I do just want to let you know that I'm here. I'm thinking about you and I can't wait to see you when I get back. That is nice. And that's a green flag. But I don't have that context. So something tells me it's not that. Because if it was that, I don't even think you would have submitted this. Just saying. So I'm going to say if he's just like one word answering you once a day, I'd be like, I do not need to maintain this conversation. Thank you, but no thank you. Text me when you can speak. Because if you can't talk, I'm not talking to you like this. This is stupid. And it makes me feel crazy because it's like, why am I even trying if you're not? All right, number 2. They broke up 2 weeks ago and he's ready to be in a committed relationship again. I'm going to say this is a yellow flag, because this is something that you should be cautious about, but not necessarily skeptical of or excited about. So it wouldn't be green and it wouldn't be red. Why I say that is because anything could happen. People get divorced and meet the love of their life right after that. Like, crazier things have happened than someone liking someone new 2 weeks after a breakup, because at the end of the day, he could have been checked out of the relationship for a long time. And I'm not saying that's right to stay in a relationship longer than, it should, longer than the expiration date. But sometimes relationships are hard and sometimes breakups are hard. And sometimes people overstay in a relationship out of comfort. And because of that, um, they're already completely done by the end of the relationship, by the official breakup. And it almost feels as if they had broken up months prior. So then by the time he met someone who he actually really likes and is excited about, now he's like, oh my God, I can't wait to just get in a new relationship and feel happy and just feel good with this person? Um, and that's valid. That happens. You can't fight fate, right? Like, what if someone gets out of a relationship and then meets their soulmate right after that? What are you going to do? Say, "Oh, not enough time has passed. I can't do it." No. So be cautious, because on one end it could be weird. Like, is this person just like completely attached and like can't be alone, can't be independent, needs a girlfriend, needs to be in a relationship, so now he's just like jumping from one to the next because he just like can't bear the thought of being by himself? That's a red flag. Um or is this person just super genuine and like really ready to like meet his actual person? That's a green flag. So there you go. Number 3, He isn't close with his mom, and I don't know if I should be sad or relieved. Um, Again, more context would be needed, but I would say this can go both ways in the sense that you have no idea what someone's relationship is with their parent. Meaning, if somebody doesn't have a relationship with their mom because of themselves, like they don't care about their family, they are the problem. They distance themselves from people who love them, and his mom is like some angel woman who would do anything for her kids and like is brokenhearted over this, and she wants so bad to have a relationship with her son, but like he's just a terror. What do you think? Obviously, that's a red flag. If his mother is a raging narcissist and makes his life a living hell and uses him and is bad to him, then maybe then that's a wall he needed to put up and a boundary he needed to have, and he had to cut his mom out of his life and go no contact with her, which you can't blame because everyone is raised differently. So like family is extremely important to me, and luckily I don't have those relationships in my family, but I'm also somebody who's really big on boundaries. And if I did experience that in my life, I would have to put myself first and cut people out of my life if that was my situation. If I had god awful parents and, so now you could be both happy or sad, because it could be sad that it's like, I would love to have like a mother in law and I would love to, I would like a family oriented guy. Or you could be like, good for me. I don't have to deal with a mother in law and I get to just have my man to myself and my own family and I don't have to worry about his. So again, context is needed. I don't know what the dynamic is. I guess yellow flag. Number 4, follows a good amount of girls on social media. Red flag. Why? Literally, why? I guess it also depends on who the girls are. Are these Insta models or are they girls that he knows? One thing that I always think is like, look to see if the girls follow him back, because that tells you everything you need to know. When a guy follows a bunch of girls who don't even follow him back, it's giving creep. Loser. Big time loser. So look into that. If these are girls who don't even follow him back, yeah, red flag. And if they're people he knows and they all follow him, then what are you gonna do? He has girlfriends. Can't help that. So, okay. Number 5, no flowers on first or second date. I would say, you know what? I actually did get flowers on my second date, but I think it was maybe because it was also my birthday. My birthday was the day before our second date. So I'm thinking that that's why I got the flowers on our second date. Um, but I don't think I would consider it a red flag, because sometimes guys don't get you flowers on the first or second date. Maybe they do on the third, like it. I don't know. I did get the flowers, but it also was my birthday. I don't know if I would have gotten the flowers. But while we dated, I got flowers a lot. I was always getting flowers. So do with that what you will. I don't know if we need to narrow it all the way down to a first or second date, because think about it. Is a guy going to get every single girl he goes on a first date with flowers? No. And that would make it feel so unspecial to me. If I got flowers from a guy on the first date and then I found out later on that that was his move, that he got every single girl for flowers on the first date, I'd be like, that's the red flag. So it's not a red flag. He should get you flowers at some point, but you should also make it clear that you want them. Like, make it clear that that's like your vibe. Going on drinks as the first date. It's not a red flag because I know it's a big preference for some people. It's just a thing I would not do. So if I was single and offered to go on a date, asked to go on a date, and a guy offered that we go to drinks, I would reject that. How he handles that rejection would determine if it's a red or a green flag. Because he might turn around and say, "Oh, that's totally fine. I offered drinks because most girls like to just go for drinks, but I'm totally down to get dinner." Then I'd be like, "Chill, cool, okay, green flag." If he turns around and is like, I don't do dinner on the first date, I only do drinks, I'd be like, red flag. So the actual idea of drinks as the first date is not the red flag. The red flag is how he handles the follow up of if you reject that. But I'm assuming that you're asking that to me because I've said I don't like that. Um, but if you like drinks on the first date, go for it. I mean, plenty of people do. So many of my friends were like, I would never do dinner on the first date because I always talked about how, like, for me, it was so important that a first date was always dinner. And they were like, I would never sit with a guy for 2 hours at dinner that I've never met before. Okay, that's your preference. That's perfectly fine. So it's not a red flag. It's just your preference. But if you don't want to do it, observe how he responds. Number 7, not staying up until you get home. Red flag. Like, what are men here for if not to protect us? Like, your safety should be his number one concern. So if you guys went home separately and you got home late, like he got home first, then you got home and you texted him and he wasn't up, and then he texted you in the morning, like, sorry, I fell asleep. Goodbye. Red flag. Number 8, he's hard to read because he's guarded. It seems like he likes me, but I feel like he won't let me in. Red flag. I think that's very immature because I get it when people like have trust issues, but like you're taking your past out on me. So now you're projecting your traumas on me, and I don't like that. Heal yourself. Work on yourself. Overcome your issues because they're not my issues. I did not give you the reason to feel this way. Somebody else did. So that's on them, not on me. And I feel like when someone takes out their past on you, um, it's a sign that they're not really ready for a relationship. So you're like, excuse me, you're like, I feel like he likes me, but he won't let me in. Like, you're like confused, like he's hard to read. Well, that goes back to everything I just said before. If you're confused, there's your clarity. He might like you, but clearly not enough to let you in, and clearly not enough to get over this stuff. So if he's still so traumatized that he has to continue to be guarded and have his walls up and whatever, goodbye. Red flag. Work on yourself. Go to therapy or take my program, dude. I mean, I know it's called Queens of Confidence, but you could be a king of confidence. Do the program. I'm telling you now, it is 60% off, which means it's 90% off of the value. Or, and also get the workbook, which is literally only $29. So there you go. Okay. All right. 9 and 10, our last two. Number 9, he comes from a rich family, so he doesn't work that hard and is kind of entitled. Okay, hold on. Up until the kind of entitled part, I would be like, this is not a red flag at all. Because, quite frankly, if someone already got it like that and they have it made, huh, amazing. Let's go on vacation, okay? As long as they're generous. Because sometimes these like Nepo people are not generous and they're just assholes. So, like, in that case, that sucks. But if you're like, he comes from money and doesn't work that hard, and we have so much fun together, and we go shopping and we go here, girl, you're living my dream. Okay. So, like, that's amazing. But then you lose me at the is kind of entitled, because I don't know if entitlement is something that could be unlearned. I also don't know how old this person is. So they could grow out of it if they're maybe 21 and entitled and they're like some college frat boy douchebag, like, yeah, my daddy's a lawyer. But if he's 45 and still like that, then it's never going to go away. The 21-year-old has potential. He could grow. He could be 30 and look back and be like, I can't believe how much of a douchebag I used to be. But if he's, mid age, there's no hope for him. So, with that being said, coming from a rich family and not having to work that hard because you already have everything handed to you, not a red flag, like it is what it is. If he has generational wealth and he hasn't made, good for him. But if he's an asshole about it and is entitled, because I hate entitled people, red flag. So money, yeah, that none of that would matter. I can't even deal with entitled people who are not rich. So no. Number 10. He brought me as his +1 to a wedding, but did not post a picture with me. Well, if you are not officially together, I don't think he should post you on social media. I did not wait. Oh my God. I have to tell you guys this. This is actually crazy. I'm going to make a TikTok about this. So I think that I have it on my phone. I was just on the phone with one of my girlfriends and we were talking. Yep, I have the screenshot. We were talking about hard launching a relationship. And I said, my husband and I started dating in the month of February. We became official in the month of April. And I was like, but I don't think I posted him until September or October, which is a long time. Talking, dating since February, officially together since April. That summer in like June is when we met each other's families and like really moved forward and whatever. But I still didn't post him until the very end of summer. So I was like, let me look to see exactly when. So I scrolled back on my Instagram. This is the craziest thing. I hard launched my husband on October 4th, 2023. Here's the screenshot. Okay, this is my hard launch post. And here, down here, I'm zooming in, October 4th, 2023. You might say, what is so crazy about that? Guys, our wedding was October 4th, 2025. I hard launched my man exactly 2 years to the day before my wedding. So this is like my first ever post with him, not knowing, really. Well, I knew that's why I hard launched him. I would have never posted him in my life if I didn't think he was going to be my husband, if I didn't think we were going to get engaged. So I like knew it in my heart, but obviously at the end of the day, things happen. So like I didn't know what was going to happen, at the end of the day. And I posted him knowing I'm like, this will be my husband. And then he did become my husband exactly 2 years later. Is that not crazy? Anyway, going back to your thing, it's not a red flag because I would protect the dynamic for as long as possible. He brought you as his, he brought me as his plus one to a wedding, but you didn't say you're his girlfriend. So why would he post you if you're not his girlfriend? Why would you want to post him? Girls, do not rush to post a man on Instagram, okay? No, do not do it. Like I said from the beginning, don't get so desperate that you're like dating desperately and you just like want a man and you just like the second you get one, you can't wait to post him to the world. No. Okay. Not a red flag at all. Quite frankly, it's a green flag that he brought you to a wedding. He didn't have to bring you. He could have went alone. He could have brought somebody else. I went to plenty of weddings alone when I was single. So if you're not even together like that, he could have went alone. He didn't have to bring you, but he did bring you. So I'm assuming he introduced you to people, brought you around his friends and or even family, whoever. Good signs. Posting on social media doesn't matter. Not a red flag, okay? So hopefully that gave you girls the clarity that you needed today. And that is all that we have for today. So like I said, head to victorialario.com to shop the Queens of Confidence digital program. It is an 8-week program, completely self-paced, so it doesn't have to be 8 weeks, but I set it up to be 8 weeks. And it is everything and more. It is amazing, especially if you have that scarcity mindset and you need to work on that abundance mindset. Get that now because it is 60% off of the price, which means it's 90% off of the value. And the workbook for the girls who desire more is also so amazing. So I highly recommend getting your hands on that because it is super duper cheap. Thank you, girls, so much for listening. Until next time, girls.